Hello and welcome to CWG. I am Chris and we are talking Destiny 2 today, and what I think of it for the first 4 days I've played it, which one of them was a fucking downtime of 7 hours with the servers. We'll get to that later with the servers. Now, this game, if you're a fan of Destiny 1 and you like the way Destiny 1 played, with a few tweaks, it makes Destiny 1 seem shit compared to this. I've got to admit that this is a massive improvement over Destiny 1. There's a few things which maybe Destiny 1 done better, and I'll go over that in the video. Now, let's talk about what Destiny 1 did do good compared to Destiny 2. So, Destiny 1 done the armor system 10 times better, because basically you could unlock your arm. Basically, it gave you more reason to go out and fight in combat zones, because you want to go and get your gear leveled up, and it would give you something to work towards, was getting what you wanted on the gear. They've changed up this new mod system where you can only put one mod on per armor piece. It's a bit of a shame that you don't have like a slot of 25 different mods so you could really power up your guys' gear, especially for the raid, which is supposed to be either, well, some people have said it's really difficult, and I've heard others saying it's really easy. I don't know which one it is yet, because I haven't had the chance to play it. I haven't had the chance to play the Nightfall raid either. Sorry, I haven't had. I sort of loaded up and tried to do it on my own, but once again, it's a team game, and you can't really do strikes on your own. It doesn't really work that way. I'd fully recommend, if you're going to play this game, make sure you've got people to play with you who are going to stick with you on it, because especially if you plan to do things like strikes and raids. I mean, the strikes, there is a playlist to search for people. There's supposed to be a search feature for the Nightfall strikes and the raids, but so far what I've tried of it doesn't work. Well, for the Nightfall strike anyway, because I'm not a high enough power level to do the raid. Because to host the raid yourself, you can be power level 260. Now, if you want to join other people to do it with you, you have to be power level 280. I don't know why they made a difference in doing that. It's absolutely a stupid idea. The guided sort of game thing they call the beta, that needs to be the same power level as it would be to host it on your own, because it's absolutely stupid the fact that you'd have to be power level 280 to join someone else's. Maybe it's because they want people with more skill to join people who want to host it. I don't know, but at the end of the day, it needs to change to power level 260 like it is with the hosting. Now, altogether with this game, I fully recommend that you, as I said, you go out and try it if you love Destiny 1. It does a lot of improvements over Destiny 1. The combat feels a lot more smoother. It's basically the same combat, but the gunplay feels a lot more smoother. You really feel the weight to the guns. The sound of the guns are absolutely beautiful, and definitely, if you get the chance to pick it up, especially if it's on sale, it's probably the best way to pick it up. Because if you're not, I'd probably say pick it up on sale if you're not a fan of Destiny, because that's the sort of way you sort of try it out there. Because if you're not a fan of Destiny, you're not going to really enjoy the sequel either, because it's more basically the same of what you got in the first game. There are 6 strikes launched for the game. I've done 4 of them so far. They are extremely fun. I've got to admit as well, even without the strikes, it has a pretty stand-up campaign. The campaign is quite short, but it's very, very well lived. It is basically what we wanted in Destiny 1, we got in Destiny 2 in terms of story, but not the story we sort of wanted. It made up its own story for Destiny 2, but we didn't really get any history to do with the lore or anything. We kind of learned a very small few things to do with the Traveler, but basically in story-wise, if it's the stuff you actually want to know, it doesn't tell you, which is a shame in this, because we would like to sort of see what the game, the lore of this really is, but you don't really get the chance to see it in this game, because it likes to keep hiding it from us, which is a shame, because I think it's got probably somewhere deep in Bungie's pockets, they probably designed a really great story, but it just seems like they just keep they'd rather give us a different story than give us the story we've sort of been wanting. Now, public events, as you can see what I'm doing in the background here, are 10 times better. So, free roaming in the world, there's much more to do. So, once again, patrol missions are back, where you just sort of do weird sort of, how can I say it, missions, sort of just kill and collect sort of missions. Now, in public events, with this, they have, as you can see, I'm doing what's called a heroic event. If you do a public event and you do certain objectives, you can get the event to go heroic, which gives you more loot and more XP at the end of it. It doesn't seem a dramatic change into it, but the XP is the main thing you want to play the public events for, because it's the best way to level up. Because once you get to that lovely level 20, it's all about getting the XP towards that light bar you can see at the bottom to try and get that to give you a bright engram once you've fully filled the bar up. Because that bar is basically going to give you those bright engrams which give you the best gear in the game. And the really sort of gear you want to show off with comes from bright engrams. So far from what I've played of it though, it's after you get your first free, after they take off the boost you get for the first time you reach level 20, basically you can level up 3 times with really fast leveling, and after that it becomes sort of a grind just to level it up. As you can see, I'll finish this event and you'll hardly see the bar move at all. It's really silly that it's like that. It needs to be basically how they had with the booster on. It needs to be like that, so it's not as grindy to keep getting decent gear. But saying that again, it feels like padding, because a lot of the game you progress too fast. To get to level 20, you can do it within a few hours. It's absolutely silly that they've made the grind for the part everyone came to join, which is the leveling up and the campaign. Basically, before you even finish the campaign, you'll be max level, and you'll be sort of mainly just focusing on your gear. So any rewards you get at the end of the campaign, they're not worth it. So unless you focus on solely just doing the campaign, the rewards at the end you're going to get, you're just not going to have any enjoyment out of them. I had a really awesome sword I got from Cade for completing my campaign, and I never got to use it because it's a level 16 reward, and I was level 20 by the time I finished the campaign. It was absolutely stupid. Now, the Crucible's back, which is the PvP mode. Unfortunately, they've dropped it to 4 versus 4 on the... Well, I think it's on all systems. It's 4v4 on the online. So, it's a drop from 6v6, which, unfortunately, I think the 6v6 mode in Destiny 1 was much better. And the game modes in Destiny 1 were much more enjoyable as well. It feels a lot more balanced though in Destiny 2. The combat definitely feels like it's balanced to cater to all players rather than just those who are leveling up their gear constantly. It feels like if you go up against any player of any level, it comes down to more skill more than what gear someone's got. And I'm really happy they've made that change, because it does feel like those who are new to the game will get the chance to play the PvP if they're interested, and they won't really sort of feel the backlash of not having the best gear. So that's the good part, but it still feels very lonely, because when you play the game and there's only 4 people on the map, sometimes you don't really run into any of the enemies, and you can be running around the map the whole time securing objectives on the capture mode, and you won't run into any enemies for a good few minutes, and it kind of feels like they really need to fill up the player count a little bit more on the PvP side of things, which, I mean, I can see them adding in a 6v6 mode. It won't be too hard, and as long as they don't add it in as DLC, which once again, it seems like they're really working on making money more than what the fans want, because they've been building the DLC whilst building the main game, which I really disapprove of that. I don't think that any game should be working on DLC whilst the main game is being built. Especially, in fact, I don't believe they should be building any DLC whilst the main game is not being fixed with the bugs that it's got, and it's running smoothly to players' expectations. And people say, oh, we feel that we're too entitled to say, oh, we want this and want that. No, we have the right to say this is what we want, because we pay £60 for the game, and basically what they advertise, if they advertise a fair, fun game, that's what we want at the end of the day. But the game is pretty fun. It's a lot more easier, so like you feel a lot more rewarded when you do missions and when you do any strikes or anything. Apart from strikes, you don't feel as rewarded, but missions you definitely feel rewarded. Doing public events seem to be more of a sort of necessity now, so you can keep leveling up your factions and the people on the map. Basically, whenever you do anything, like you find treasure troves, if you find treasure troves, or if you find anything like this Dusklight here, it all goes to this one person. I'll just go to the map now and I'll show you who I mean. It's this one person over here. On each map has one, so this one is Devrim K, and basically if we go over to him, we'll just fast travel to him. If you go over to him, anything sort of, as I said, the treasure troves you get, the public events you do, and there could be also things like going down in the lost sectors and destroying enemy supplies. You'll get these tokens for. Once you get these tokens, you can then redeem them for getting sort of loot sort of from that planet, and some shaders thrown in here and there. Each planet has a different person and different tokens, and once you've got these tokens and you redeem them, pretty much until you're level 20 is when sort of like it mixes up a little bit, because that's when the factions come in and you use the tokens from the factions to get some really cool gear. As anyone can see, I'll just do a little dance here. I've got my faction as New Monarchy because that's where the paint job I'm wearing comes from, and they tend to have like 2 different paint jobs per faction so far. I'm not sure if they're going to update it in the future to see if we get any different loot from vendors. It'd be really nice to make sure they do, especially if we can get his gun now. I really like that gun. But it's good to actually see that they are sort of working on more stuff coming to the game. It does feel like they are withholding some of the content which initially should have been in the game at launch, because being a sequel means it should have improvements to the game, and stuff which was in the first game should be added in straight from the start in the second game. For example, we don't have the arenas from the Taken King. I don't know why. That should be part of the main game. As I said, this is a sequel, so it should have everything in from the first game really, which is not here. It's a bit disappointing. At some points, some of you might be disappointed by the missing content we have in here. I'm not really too fussed about the arenas, I'll be honest with you, because it's a survival sort of thing that everybody, really loves. I'm not like a massive fan of survival anymore. I used to love playing survival games, but when I say survival, sort of like horde mode sort of survival. But I'm not a massive fan of them anymore because they seem to be too much of a like rinse and repeat sort of game mode. But yeah, there's a lot to do in the open world. There is side quests, there are adventures, which is sort of runs you through sort of story missions, but they've changed things up. So instead of doing where you'd normally go, you go a little bit different direction and you do different things on the way. So yeah, I like the idea of adventures. It adds a lot more replayability to the open world. They feel very flourished, the open world does. Lots of, as you see on Earth here, it's absolutely beautiful in the open world. You see wildlife running around, the flowers that are really coloured with vibrant colours. Definitely fun. But once again, you are let down by the fact that you can't have a sparrow until the end of the game. Really disappointing there. That's really all I think I've got for you guys now. I think I already said that before, but yeah. That's what I've got for you on this. This is, as I said, my sort of first thoughts on Destiny 2. I'll probably have more thoughts as it goes along. I want to get some more gameplay out there for you guys with this. So I want to do a recording of me doing the raid. That'll be quite fun to do. So I'll have to do that in part recordings. If you're interested in doing the raid with me and you're a viewer of mine, let me know in the comments below, and we'll sort something out and we'll do the raid and we'll record it. And I think that'll be quite fun. Obviously I've got to do the Nightfall strikes and stuff, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm planning on getting Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well, so if you're interested in that game, I'll be doing coverage on that as well. I do have some bad coverage to do on that yet as well. As I said, I am a critic, but I am a fair critic. I'm not paid by any company, so I say my own thoughts. I make my own money through YouTube using ads. That's why unfortunately I've got adverts on my videos, because that's the way I make my money, and I have to support myself, because I'm not going to be paid off by developers to say their game is good, because I'm a gamer. I'm not one of these people who want to make money, sort of just sitting there saying, oh yes, EA, your game is amazing because you're paying me money. No, I'm going to give my honest thoughts about any game that I play, because there's a problem in gaming coming up, and basically my next video is basically going to be pointing out the Las Vegas of gaming that we're getting now, the gamblers apocalypse. So there we are, guys, that's everything. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Goodbye.